let's see. So today we're doing 2D barcodes. So hey everyone, hi. Are you ready for this? Hi, I'm Richard Carlton. I'm the creator. All right, so let's talk about 2D barcodes. So once again, this broadcast is brought to you by fmtraining.tv, where everyone here pretty much has our training, and if they don't, they should feel ashamed of themselves for not at least getting the basic bundle. Or sending me so many awesome sample files that I just give it to you for free. Like next time Andre wants to get the bundle, he just gets it for free. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so we have the video only training bundle. We just gave you a link for that. It's for $149, and we have the complete bundle, which comes with your own copy, your own personal copy of FileMaker Pro 19 for $249. So anyway. Okay, so we got that going on. So we're doing the barcode thingy today. So the other day we were talking about, like a month and a half ago, we were talking about 1D barcodes, right? And so what I'm looking for is something with a 1D barcode. So this is a 1D barcode. So I'm going to put this up here so you can all see it. That is a 1D barcode. When you go to the grocery store, most places, they will scan that with the scan gun, right? Or I'm not supposed to say gun. So the scan Wandy device or whatever it is, right? That doesn't in any way look like a phaser from Star Trek, right? So anyway, that's a 1D barcode. It only contains basically a string of data. Most of you know this already, so if you're really bored by this, let me know and we can take a different direction. There are these things called 2D barcodes. And a 2D barcode is basically something that looks more or less like that, right? And the 2D barcode is not just a short, like this right here is a primary key for a SKU for a product. That is your FileMaker primary key in some database, okay? This is going to be like my dog jumped over the hill, or the brown fox jumped over the brown fox. That's a literary thing. Brown fox did something. It jumped over the moon or something. Anyway, so you can put a lot of text in this. And there are many different types of 2D barcodes, like with different styles and formatting and stuff like that. The common ones are UPC-A and whatever, and then the other one is code 3.9 or 3 of 9. This one, there's quite a few different 2D barcodes. This one actually is a QR code. People say, oh, it's a QR code. A QR code is a specific, very specific specification for a 2D barcode. And there are quite a few different 2D barcodes. So we're playing with that just a little bit today, talking about it. I posted a sample file already in the Discord broadcast. Hopefully TK sees that in there. I have not disseminated that. Today it's just me and myself and I, so if you guys want me to do more awesome stuff, you're going to have to pick up the load and help me. It's the bit.ly. It starts with 3 Golf Sierra Alpha Zulu 4 Delta. That's the bit.ly on that. So that opens this file right here, which is a good file just to have around. So a gentleman who is on FileMaker Community, this guy right here, Sky Wilmot, who's a prolific contributor to the FileMaker Community. I would say thank you to this guy. He threw together a little sample file that's on the FileMaker Community, which I think is great. And what this does is all you have to do is put in the string in here of whatever you want to say, and it turns it into a barcode over here, right? The 2D QR code. And so the lazy fox jumps over the brown dog. No, the quick brown fox. Okay, let's try that. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Now there is a practical limit to how much you can put in one of these things. Most people will put in like a name and an address, things like that. But see, there it is right there, and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. When you buy scan guns, scan phasers, that are not guns, you need to make sure that you specify that you get a 2D one. I have 1Ds and 2Ds running around the office. The one I happen to have on my desk turns out it's a 1D barcode device. It scans only 1D. It only does the little linear ones like this, right? That's a 1D. It only scans those. The 2D ones will actually, instead of a laser that's like flat, it'll come out more of a square. The price on them is trivial. They're both less than $100, and they fit in the same plastic. They'll just have a different model number based on the company. I prefer the ones, unless you have a really compelling reason, to have a plug in the back. And the reason is that if for every wireless device you have lithium batteries that eventually do something stupid, and they have to be replaced. If you're just going to use it for 6-12 months and throw it away, I guess. But I prefer the fewer batteries in my, because I have so many batteries as it is. You have no idea. The fewer batteries I have, the happier individual I am, right? And I'm all for wireless stuff, but when if you saw what the stuff I do, it's just like, eh. All right, so moving along on that. So that is that scan gun. To scan it with the iPad, we're going to briefly show a sample file right here, which is called 2D barcode read. This is very, 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 very easy. So what this is I'm going to clear this out. And all this is so amazingly advanced topic today. It's a Friday. So I figured you folks would ask questions, right? So if you have questions along the way, feel free. So anyway, so the 2D barcode, I call a script, right? Even if it's a single step. So what is the script step? That only is Go, right? We have this little chart over here. Every day I'm beating my head trying to get this Go and WebDirect course, and I'm learning more. And part of it I'm encouraged by, and part of it makes me want to scream, as anyone would tell you that I might want to scream. So if we come over here, I guess I could bring this up relevant. And this is part of that course, but I will show this to you. This is the, I need to switch layouts. I need to be on this layout here. It's a different chart. So if we go over here under insert, it's basically insert from device. So we call it containers, manually import export, or scripted import export. The script step you have to call is insert from device. It's only supported right here, okay? Now, there are hacks that you can do. We were trying to show a hack yesterday where we had the signature capture going, which once again, you can get around these red X's. So the green means that it is natively supported by FileMaker, which means FileMaker says they support it, it's in the manual, there's a command or some sort of script step or function, something that makes it work, okay? The red X's mean that it's not, you can't get there with the base FileMaker product. You may not be able to get there at all ever with some of them, but like a signature or barcode or things like that, you can get a JavaScript application that will build it and do that. We have the signature capture running on the Android. Once again, if Christian or someone's around, you could always ask Art to let me know if the Android demo file is functional again, because he broke it yesterday. And I broke in a live TV, I couldn't resurrect it. So anyway, so this is what this is about. So these are containers, manually or scripted. When you script it, you're going to insert, we're going to go check that out. I guess we can go check it out right now. I go to script workspace. I'm going to come over here. I guess I can click on that, and I'm going to zoom in. So this is the relevant script step right here. Insert from device, okay? And you're like, wow, that's kind of cool. And you come over to this dialog right here. It says specify insert. You can specify what you want inserted, okay? Obviously, these two I think are generally stupid. Camera is super useful. Video, so that's stills. That's the same camera, but that's a photo, that's a video, that's a audio file from the microphone that goes to the camera, a barcode or a signature. And so the barcode is interesting, and it brings it up, and it shows you these are the supported barcodes right here. So 309, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So there's a QR code right there, right? See, so what you can do is normally I just leave it on, but you could actually say, I only want like the certain flavor of barcode that's put in. So that UPCA, UPCE, those are both 1D barcodes. That's a 2D barcode. Data matrix, I think, is a 2D barcode. You'd have to go, that's a 2D, 1D, 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 and then you have to check some of these. So the point is you could restrict which ones you want to read. I'm going to leave them all on for the moment. And I'm just going to say, okay. So normally when you use insert from device, you do insert from device into a container. In this case, we're inserting from device into a text field, which will basically grabs the image, then it rips it apart, finds the string, and then jams it into a text field. So that's kind of the little bit of difference with that. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah, kind of. So I'm going to go over to my iPad application here. I'm going to go to QuickTime over here, say new movie. So it's probably show myself again. Oh, no, it's got that correctly. Wow, I got it right the first time. All right, so I've come down here to FileMaker, and it's going to open a file. It's going to re-authenticate who I am. We're now in that same file. And so I could actually scan anything. I did do a magical printout, right, of that barcode from earlier, although that's not the quick down. Well, we'll start with this one here. So this is, I'm going to hit scan that button right there. It's going to come up with the camera. And then wham, it grabbed it. And that is text right there. But you're like, that's not the red, brown, dirty fox that was lazy over the hamster. Right, got it. So let's do that one. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to save all, I guess. I'm going to come over to this one here. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to clear it. Oop, I got to clear it on here. Clear. Clear, 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 clear. How about that? Great. Click out. Did the auto zoom thingy. Let's go like there, right there. Great, right there. And then this is the actual FileMaker end of it, because we've opened it with Pro and Go. So I'm going to move this out of the way over here. So I'm going to scan this barcode off the screen as the plan, right? So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to press the button. And then as soon as I put it up, you'll hear it beep probably. It didn't beep at all. That piece of dog. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So it's really that simple. And you can, once again, use it with a regular scan gun device. You just need to make sure that when you buy it, you check to make sure it supports the barcodes you want to use. This one is just a demo one that we use for most of the time. We do barcodes or 1D, 2Ds. Because really with 1D, it's like products on inventory walls. It's the primary key. But like if you're going to like a conference, right, and they want to put your information on the badge at a conference. Hi, I'm Ken from Albuquerque, and I fly balloons with rockets and missiles on them. So he's really cool balloons, right? And they put all that information here in his address, Albuquerque. In fact, Ken could even put the temperature on there. Because at 108 or 101, it'll be 102 by 3 by the time the day's over. You get that entire address in that string of text, and then if you put like vertical pipes or something, you could separate it, you could parse it, right? A quick tip for Mac users: deselecting and selecting all the check boxes in a window when you select which barcodes should. Really? I didn't know that. TK55678 says if we come over to here and I go into scripts and then I come over to here and I go to here and I hit select A. What would I hit? Select? Wait. Can I hit delete? Can I hit cut? So, oh, it does all of them. Oh, nuke all. And then you can click out and add one. TK55678, that's why we love you so much. That is a really clever. By the way, those numbers, if you want barcodes scanned outside of that, you're going to have to jury rig something with JavaScript. FileMaker's barcoding, they buy a library. They buy the source code from whoever. They incorporate it under license from that company. And so this is a license they have. It's like the charting engine. They didn't build the charting engine. They licensed one such that it is, brought it over, right? So that's one of these, like, if they, like, the other couple of years ago, they added 3 or 4 barcodes Todd was complaining about. They were missing something important. And so Claris went back to the barcode company they had the license from and got an updated block of code, and they dropped it in there. So they don't write everything. They don't, in fact, they shouldn't write everything. They just should bring in the necessary bits and then license them appropriately. That's really what the add-on modules are about. It's about bringing in modules to FileMaker without FileMaker or without Claris cutting the check to pay for it. Really is a big part of that, right? Kind of cool. Scott, is there a way to scan a barcode using FileMaker Pro on an iMac with a built-in camera? The built-in cameras are pretty low res, right, Scott? I mean, if it's a newer one, I mean, I guess if you have a new one, it would be a better camera. I mean, okay, so I'm going to simulate this, right? Okay, so here we go. So, I mean, it's a little awkward, right? So here's Richard. There I am. Here's my computer right here, right? So if I can't really see me unless I widen it out. So I guess we could attempt to, like, okay, so you have a product, and you want to, like, scan it, and the camera's there, so you have to, like, so it seems to me slightly awkward for people who, unless you got, like, a naturally coordinated person, like Ken has to be a coordinated person. Can you trick File and think it's a Mac versus iPad? Now we're back to this JavaScript stuff. So the JavaScript thing that Art worked on, there are APIs and Java things you can call to activate the, you can activate the camera. I've seen people put cameras into containers. So I think the answer is yes, Scott. It's kind of a backwards workaround. Yeah, so let's do this. I'm going to do a container here real quick. So I already know there's demos to get image of a camera into a container. I've seen those on and off for years. I saw one the other day, well, about a year ago. In fact, I thought it was the Europe. Well, just do a search for FileMaker. Well, don't do it right now because you're supposed to be watching me, right? Do a search if you want. Let people know. But capture USB camera into FileMaker container or whatever on a Mac, whatever you want to say on that. I'm just going to put a container in here because this is kind of important. I want to change that. There is, if you can get the image into here, and this could be a global too for performance reasons would be better. What you can do is you can basically feed the data into there with that same script step. You probably can't even see that line right there. Let me see. I don't know if I can make that fatter or not. Oh, yeah, under appearance here, right? Line solid. It's like an 8-point line. There we go, right? So the idea is that if we put a picture in there, so if I was in this app here and I had the container over there, browse mode, and then I took a picture just for giggles. Let me just take a picture here. So let me see, go to QuickTime here. So I'm going to do this with the QuickTime because I have the cameras. I don't have a camera on my Mac here. I'm going to say insert from the camera. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on that, have it log on, take a picture, and then use that picture. So that sticks the picture in the container, which is what we're doing is we're simulating the behavior out of the Mac, right? So now you have a barcode in there. That script step allows you to direct it out of an existing container. You don't have to have a live photo. So that kind of solves your problem, I think, right? So nothing like a little live moment going here. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to say generate barcode text from stored container. Yeah, they don't have an image processor, but it's a library. This all works on a library. Once again, they bought the library for this. So yeah, it has an image processor, or at least whatever that library is that takes the container and it decodes it, right? So that there is an image processor, not like Photoshop image processor. If you need stuff like that, you can dig deeper into the OS. The Mac has a deeper library of that than the Windows does. I could have swore I had that as a container. I saw that somewhere. I'm being barcode, specify the field, and this is the same specify the target, insert from. Well, the point is that you're going to have to JavaScript that thing, but you can get the value into a container. I swore I saw that somewhere. Insert from devices incompatible with Pro, Go, WebDirect, and Go. Yeah, that's not the. No. Okay, I'm combining two things together, Scott. I'm combining the fact. Yeah, you're right. So you're going to have to get two steps. One, you're probably going to have to have a JavaScript. Either the JavaScript can grab it from the camera directly, and because remember, there's two things going on here, which you need to understand. One is that there's a camera. We're talking to the operating system. We're getting the picture out, right? The picture comes out. We can drop a photo in there. The second part that's happening, whether it's at the FileMaker level or the computer level, but I think it's at the FileMaker level because in order for FileMaker to support more barcodes, they have to go license more software. So FileMaker has the image conversion software in FileMaker Pro and WebDirect. Well, in the insert from in the insert from device script step, that library is in there, okay? And it takes the image, and converts it. It gets the barcode out, gives you as text. So your JavaScript is going to have to either go from the image straight to text, or it'll be a two-step JavaScript: image into a container, then a base 64 of the container into the barcode extract, right? So it's kind of a moving piece. I mean, it's not. I mean, I guarantee this has been done by 500 people, right? It's like, but you just have to find the pre-built library. I happened to find this one earlier. Can get container attribute. Yeah, so we can do that. Well, okay. So Michael on Bob. Okay, there's a lot of people going here. How do we dismiss the on-screen keyboard? I think that's a script step on. Okay, well, I'm all over the place with questions. So let me just deal with Twitch for a second. So There was a question about dismissing the on-screen keyboard. I'm pretty sure you can dismiss that if you run into that. If you're like over here, there's this ability to hide and show the on-screen keyboard, right? On, I mean, I guess we're not seeing this right here. Let me see, QuickTime. Here we go. So yeah, the on-screen keyboard here is what we're talking about, I assume. Yes, makes sense. So the question is what does that do for us? I think there's a script. So like right there's the button right there. I think you can script that, script steps on with WebDirect. Okay, with Go you can script it. With WebDirect you cannot script it. Right? You cannot script it because WebDirect doesn't have keyboard controls. Right? Lower right, yeah, you could tap. I mean that. Yeah, I'm assuming that we all have seen this before. Bottom right button down there. Right? But the issue is that that is a script step I think you can call, but once again, it's Go specific. So if you're on Android over here, I don't know if my Android is showing right now. Is my Android showing? Let me see. Is it showing? Let me see. Click that. Click that. Click that. Click that. Click that. Click that. Is it working? Nah, we're back to having a moment. I have to restart the device over here. It's gotten aggravated at me. But yes, the idea is that you can, the keyboard when it pops up on the Android device, there's no specific controls. Because remember the WebDirect is, we're back to this whole conversation about WebDirect not knowing what kind of computer it's on. It's on Mac, it's on Windows, it's on a Surface device. And so there's, the browsers don't have control over the keyboard to like really spawn them or not spawn them. Maybe with JavaScript you could, but Claris hasn't gone down that road to customize that. So Twitch, yeah, Michael say get container attribute for barcode. Yeah, it'll tell you that if you scanned, not that there's a barcode in there, like that right there is going to return an image. It's not going to say it's a barcode. If you actually scan and do insert from device and it's actually a barcode, that's an image of the barcode, but it's generated from insert from device as a barcode, it will come back. The get container attribute will tell you it's a signature. It'll tell you it's a barcode. It'll tell you really what it is. Okay? That's one of the things about signatures that are important because if you do insert from device, like I come over here, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say replace. Okay, say I do a signature right here. He's got a good point. So say you have a signature here, okay, and that's on a document. You're like, oh, that's official, right? If I do a get container attribute, it will certify that signature as being, that image as being a legit signature. If I copy it and put it into another container, it becomes an image. If Claris in FileMaker decertifies it as being officially a signature. And so that's one of the things you can do on a signature capture with a script is test, hey, get container attribute, is it still a legit signature, right? Same with the barcode, right? If it's a barcode, I mean, there's less security about barcodes where signatures are kind of a thing, right? Kind of important. So, but people could take a picture of a signature or copy that container, paste another one. So it's important to understand. So get container, Michael's not wrong about thinking that. I don't think it does us anything here. That's another demo we'd have to cook up, and I'd have to search around we'd spend 45 minutes here searching around trying to build this out on the camera on the Imac. I'm not opposed to doing it, but I don't really want to do so. I mean, normally I would prep and we'd make sure that we had something working in advance before I walked in here with that. Because I don't want to spend 45 minutes and then have it, oh, I can't get there from here, or I need to wrestle around with the code. I mean, one thing for me to do what I do and answer questions, but for me to try to code in real time in front of 80 other people, half of which are probably better than I am, it's a little intimidating and nerve-wracking, right? So, because I'm also trying to run the technical end of the broadcast and answer questions. Michael, did we answer the question? So the answer is yes, it will come back if it's a barcode. If I come over here, and I can just do it for you, I guess. I could do replace. I could put a barcode in there. That would be interesting. So that's that. I told it to be a barcode. See, that was interesting right there. Let's try this out. Now that's a different image. Hang on, let me click out. There it goes. It updated. Okay, so let's do this. Define fields. We'll do an unstored calculation, unstored calc. I just want to show you everyone sees I'm doing it the right way. Call unstored calc, type of container. I'll say it's a calculation. We'll say create. We'll make sure the storage options are set for do not store. Text, super important. So for those of you who haven't seen this, storage options set for do not store. If you have a get function or something that's going to change frequently, the computer may not know it changes. This is important. Nick had a whole session on this kind of stuff. I would say get container. It's funny because you have this get. There's some gets over here that are not the same as what you might think otherwise, right? See, these are all these gets in here, right? And this is long. But then you have these special gets. See these all down here? These are like, they're different. They look the same, but these are up in one area, and these are totally different. So you have get container attribute. We could say the field is the container, and I think you say all. I think it's the generic catch-all for that. So if I go back to OK, and I go to layout mode over here, let's see what it says. Put that down here, but it's going to be a value list, so we have to string it out a little bit. So it is, it gave it the file name. We didn't give it a file name, barcode, storage type embedded, not an external storage. There's the hash on it, the file size external. It is, the type is barcode right there. See that? And so, and it identifies a QR code, which is pretty cool. So the point is that, in fact, that's the text right there. So yeah, that still doesn't kind of, I mean, because this had to be put in here from insert from device, right? And we told it was looking for a barcode. So yeah, so you're going to need to work on a JavaScript kind of capability. That will be an important part of what you're doing if you want to get it off the Mac, off the iMac, off the camera, off the iMac, right? Because it's insert from device is not supported anywhere else. So the only way to work around it is a hack, or you can get the plugin, the MBS plugin, the monkey bread from. I mean, that's the quick and easy way. If it's just for you internally and you want to, the plugin's not much. Just do that. The problem is that I can't, every time I have a solution here, I can't say, go buy the plugin. Duh, right? I mean, a lot of people want to build a vertical market application. They don't want to put, like starting point, we give it away to everyone. I could put in like open source JavaScript there, but I can't put the monkey bread plugin into starting point and give it away to everyone, right? So there's this issue with building a solution for a vertical market or for redistribution. If it's just for you personally, get the plugin, right? But that's where the signature comes in here. Like I can do that while you're kicking that around. If I come over here and I say replace, you can't see me over here. I'm going to say replace with the signature, and it doesn't matter what it is. Okay, then the embed, notice the embed down here, right? See that? It's also down here. I can zoom in. Did it not? Oh, wait, I have to commit the change. There we go. See, there we go. So now I update, zoom in. So see the signature right there? That's because it's a legit signature. It's not like a copy of a signature or a copy and paste. You can't copy and paste the signature. Once you move it out of the initial landing spot, it's not a signature anymore. So if you copy, if you took a signature into a global field and you did a set field to bring it over, I don't know if the set field would do, but generally they don't want people copying and pasting. You have to verify that. You'd also could capture the MD5, which is the hash. Basically, it's a checksum. Those of you know what a checksum is, it's a little, basically a mathematical formula that is totally unique based upon what's in the file, and it's like a UUID. And anytime that exact image is somewhere else, or whatever, this signature will have that checksum. If it's altered by even a smidge of a pixel of anything anywhere, that checksum changes, and you know someone's got in and changed it, hacked it, or something. How do I test a script that runs my iPad on my Mac? I mean, yeah, you can't. Okay, so Ken. So then David asked a question right behind him. Okay, so we're just talking about, okay, Ken, I'm going to skip yours. I'm going to come back and deal with David real quick. So David, we're talking about, okay, so that's the whole point of this, okay? If I take up, okay, you guys aren't getting this. Let me try this again. So this is a container, okay? This is the, I will call it the evil container, okay? I'm going to create another container over here. I'm going to create that. I'm going to say this is the, what we call it, attributes of legit container. I'll change the name. I'm going to duplicate it. Attributes of, I'll just say evil container, right? And then we're just going to make sure we redirect it towards the correct container, evil container, right? Okay, there we go. So I've got the good container. I've got the, let me get this out of the way. I've got the attributes of the good container here. I got evil container here. I got attributes of evil container. Basically, that says question because there's nothing in there. So if I copy this, so say I'm very clever. I'm Richard Carlton. I'm going to copy your signature out of point 1 and move it over to point 2. I paste it over here, right? Notice, right? So this is answering the question. I had a signature here that was legit, but I'm going to copy and move it somewhere else. So this is Ken's signature, okay? And Ken has approved that I can take the balloon on a 6-state joyride with no totally free, and he signs off on it. Well, he didn't really sign that, but I got his signature off this other part, and I copy and paste it over here. And if you want to make sure the signature is legit, per David Engel's question, as you copy and paste it, because it no longer says signature, it says image. Okay, so it's got the security bits in here, right? So the hash didn't change because the image didn't change, but FileMaker knew that it's been monkeyed with, and so it reassigns it as being an image, not a legit container. So I don't know beyond that how you could tell if it's a real signature, right? Like I've got some people who sign really horrifically bad signatures, right? To tell it's legit, that's all the FileMaker can do. I mean, I guess I'm not answering the question, you know. Well, yeah, but see, if whoever's doing the evil stuff, this one won't be here. You have to actually, if you're writing code and you want to make sure the signature is legit, when someone says, "Hey, it's done," check the record in the database, right? You would check this data here, and if it says image, you know that whoever's put that in there stole that signature from someplace else. It wasn't legitimately put in there by a person who signed it. I guess that's the key part. Yeah, correct. That's Scott. That's why I mentioned it, because Michael mentioned over here about barcodes, but about the get container attribute, it does. It tells us if we put a barcode in there, it gives us the information on it, right, as an image, right? But a lot of people don't want to store the image of the barcode. They just tell the computer to get the image, extract the text, dump the text into the text field, which is what we did. So everything that we're doing here, especially with barcodes, is a two-step. It's an image capture and then image evaluation. With a signature, it's not evaluating other than to say that it's an original. That's what this means. It means it's an original right here. It's not a copy. Okay, David. Normally banks compare a signature and legit check, but that's done by a person. Yeah, I mean, FileMaker is playing with AI with the platform, but they've the documentation again is like non-existent. So they keep saying, "Oh, here's a great sample of it working," and I got 2 or 3 engineers who can't make it work, and they're not being paid to make it work, so they're kind of sitting there, kind of like, you know, how much time do I want to waste on something that's not documented? Generate the QR codes. Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, so it's already in the sample file I gave you folks, right? So the QR code generation is right here, okay? And it's a JavaScript library. Once again, I'm just gonna, I can use the hosted one. No, it's not hosted. I'll use the local one. Here it is right here. So this file right here, which I've already posted for everyone, has an open source JavaScript. This is driven by JavaScript, okay? If we go in here and pop this open and look at this, this was already done by the guy online, and he just hacked it to make sure that it was going to work okay with FileMaker. So this is the code that generates the QR code, which is pretty cool. So it's open source. It's a kind of demo I like to have. That makes sense. Yeah, so yeah, you can find this stuff if you go to JavaScript resource libraries. So I've already given you the code on how to build it. You already have the device that can read it. If you want to read it in a non-standard device, like okay, let me back to the chart. If you want to read it on something, once again, we're back to this chart right here. If you want to look at this stuff, I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to zoom this all the way over here, and I'm going to hide myself down here. If you want to, that. Try that again. There we go. Smaller. I said smaller. Hello. Smaller. View. Zoom out. So if you're trying to solve a problem that's got a red X on it, then yeah, we're off the JavaScript land, right? So nowhere in here, I didn't even bother with it. Does it say create barcodes or print barcodes? That's a font or some sort of JavaScript thing. I didn't even put that in here. So what we did is we did find the file that does this. This one here is the QR one. So this generates it, but it doesn't do anything besides generate it from a block of text into WebViewer. But it should work really great with Go, and probably works with WebDirect. And I did print it. It did work okay when I scanned it, so printing it works just fine as well. So yeah, so whenever you run into a red X here, basically that means you have to do a workaround, you know, of some type. Okay, Bunny, so what programming languages does FileMaker support? That's an interesting question. FileMaker directly does it lists programming languages. Technically none. It partially supports SQL, which is a database query language. So SQL, it depends if you think SQL is a programming language or not, but it partially supports that in a very limited way. FileMaker has its own script interface, script workspace, right? So when you're in FileMaker and you're writing, so we're in this file right here, and you want to look at the scripts in here, and then I open up the script and this code, all this over here are all the code that we can put in here. FileMaker has its own development programming language, okay? Now, if you want to like write PHP and have it run internally in FileMaker, or you can write JavaScript, your own JavaScript, and run in FileMaker. PHP you can do with used to be a plugin called Smart Pill. You write PHP and then FileMaker executes it, if that makes sense. But basically, most people right now, the hot item is JavaScript. There are JavaScripting capabilities in here. You run them in a web viewer. So like this one example over here, this is generated by JavaScript. The JavaScript is in here, okay? And I'm not sure quite what that block of crap represents right there. Maybe it's something that's compiled or not compiled. I'm not a JavaScript guy, but that's not human readable. That's machine readable. So obviously, but see, that's an image. It says that's a base 60. It looks like an image in there, but it would be more than just an image, right? So I'm not quite sure how it's generating whatever it's generating, but it's self-contained and it does this, right? So obviously there is the base 64 image in here plus whatever else. So yeah, so I don't know where this came from, but that's basically effectively a JavaScript library, which JavaScript is a programming language. So, so back to iMac versus iPad. How do we tell the Mac if it's an iPad? Oh, that one's easy. So if you go to the I have a tool. You can download it off our website or off the Go. It's called the FileMaker Go 18 Video Training Tool. I've been killing myself. I've got a Windows machine over here on my desk, which I hate. You can see it back over here with the blue screen. I'm testing on that, and the iPad and the Mac to make sure these layouts look good. But if you go to the 18 one, it's the same thing. We go down to scripting, and you do, where is it at? Replace. Google, where's the get network type, where's that at? Why am I having a moment here? Let me see. Is it calculate? Oh, it's okay. It's not, well, it's a calculation function. Technically, it's a get function. So right here, you do get system platform, and that will tell you what I'm running on, right? +5 is new, Linux, which is interesting because you're never going to have that as a client, but you'll have it as a server in the new server, right? So this will tell you Intel Macs with Pro, Intel Windows with, in the documentation it doesn't say with Pro, but it kind of loosely implies that. So I kind of, whenever I do training and their training elsewhere is incomplete, I kind of augment it with a little bit. Intel Macs with Pro, and don't even start with me about the new ARM stuff. I know 2 of you are already going to ask that question. And +3 on the iOS devices, all of them. And then so you get that, and then over here it will return the kind of device it is. So if you're on an iPad, right, you're going to get something different. So if I bring up the iPad over here, I go to that, I'm going to close that. I'm going to go to the DBW 13. I'm going to open up you can see it over here. You can go over to the FileMaker. Yeah, everyone here has access to the 18 training tool, but I'm working on the 19 training tool, and it's this typos and corrections, things like that. Calculations, I come over here to System Platform. I'm going to hit Run at the top here. I don't know if you can see that. It's going to say 3, which is iOS device, so that already clues you in that you're not on a Mac. And then if you run the bottom one, you get 3 again, which is iPad any model. Okay, so you're looking for 3 and 3 over here. Okay. Now that's the get function. You can also do get. The next one after this is the next one after this. It says, where is that at? Let me see the list. Get application version right here. This one right here is another one you can use. Okay. What this will show is, I'm going to run it right now. Did I run it? There we go. If I run over here on FileMaker, let me zoom out here. If I run over here, let me see, next. See, it says iPad there. If I run it right now, it'll overwrite. So I get Pro, right, 1901. When you run it on the iPad, it's interesting. It's actually, this is because I yelled at them, and this is back in 2010 about this specific issue. We were doing some early testing with Go, what they call Go 1.0. And what happened is that they didn't specify a difference between Go. They just called it Go and a version number. And I said, well, what the hell? Right? We have to tell the difference between a phone and a not a phone, right? And they said, oh, okay, well, let's add this string in here. And I really thought that was dumb. It needed to be Go iPhone and Go iPad. But what it does on the phone, it just puts Go. So the lack of a descriptor on it means it's the phone. Does that make sense? If it says iPad, it's iPad. So it's kind of, I want to slap someone for that. Okay, really great tip, Ken. Really great tip. So here we go. Ken's problem is he needs his Mac to fake it. It needs to fake that it's an iPad. Way we solve this problem with Starting Point may or may not be useful for you. Okay, we have this exact problem with Starting Point. We run into it all the time. I need a copy of Starting Point. Where's that at? Here it is. So this is 7.0. It doesn't particularly matter, okay, because all of them have this capability in there. And I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to just flip it into lose all the background. And so here you go. This is really important. In the startup script, during the startup script, we run a couple things. We run a couple of those script steps that you just saw. And in the startup script, we set some variables. Very, very, very important. So if I go to the data viewer, I'm going to see that during the startup of this file, we did a bunch of stuff. And one of the things we did is that the system determined it was on a mouse system, okay? We don't do Mac versus iPad because for us, it's not just about Macs. It's about Mac and Windows, and it really wasn't about Mac or Windows. It was about whether you had a mouse or touch. Trust me, this was for us about a 5-year. We came to this discovery over about 2 or 3 years, realizing that trying to do it mouse and Mac and iPad was just, unless you're just, that's the only two you support. So it determines it's on a mouse machine, which basically means a Mac on Pro. But we set it here, so then everywhere else in the system, everywhere else where we would say, oh, what kind of device is this? We only check it right here. That makes sense? We only check it right here. So we check it once at the beginning, and we don't check it again anymore directly from the machine. Why? Because we have this script up here at the top, which some of you know about this. Actually, I should be able to say scripts. Oh, it's hiding. You go script workspace, you say set device mode right here, right? So I'm going to turn that on. You go script, set device mode. It says, okay, we know you're a mouse, but forget that. What would you like to be? This is like one of those moments where I want to change the gender of my FileMaker file, right? So I want to be a mouse. No, I want to be touch. So now it thinks it's a touch. So we go over here to the data viewer, and we have it's set for touch, right? So then going forward, every other script where it says what kind of layout, what this, what that, it's referencing that. So then as I go to layouts over here, I'm hitting iPad layouts now or touch layouts. That makes sense? So that's how you solve it. It's not really a perfect fix. So once upon a time, you'll like this question. The folks at Claris had a debug on this, and I saw it in a beta, and then it mysteriously disappeared, never to be seen again. This is about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, actually longer than that. And they had a mode on here where it would output the script debugger information to Pro or a browser, whatever it was. So you could actually run it here and see telemetry over here on Pro. It was so cool. It was so cool. But it was engineering had it, and they removed it for maybe a technical reason or whatever reason they couldn't do it, or it wasn't worth it, or whatever the issue was. But that would be cool. But no, what I did is that's as good as you're going to get. Cool. Other questions. So Johnson, M. Johnson, 24, off topic. Are you going to start to redo starting point for 19 with some JavaScript features to all show we can really do? Yes or no? We've already finished starting point 19. If you want a Java, basically starting point fills 2 important missions. Well, actually 3 important missions now. Basically, it's a training tool. 1, I get that. 2, it's actually a great place to start a project, and we do a lot of documentation training on it. 3, it's undergoing additional refinement to make sure it's enterprise ready, which means that you can deploy it to thousands of people on replicated servers. That's a new checkbox in its goal. So we're not willy-nilly adding features to it. It probably has more features than it needs right now. In the calendar on here, if I go back, let me just rerun this back to mouse again. If I go to the calendar over here, this is a JavaScript thing. In fact, we had this out. In fact, Claris used this at the keynote at DevCon to show people a JavaScript calendar, and then they turned it into an add-on module and did this thing. We've updated the calendar in 19. You can't really tell. It uses the JavaScript back and forth between without going to URL protocol, right? So that's already in the product. But are we adding random JavaScript thingies in there? No, because I don't want to junk up a solution that's designed to be deployable to enterprise. We will have more JavaScript demos, right? Like, for example, here's one, right? Here's the QR code. Where'd it go? Here's another one right here. Right, here's another JavaScript demo. We're not going to be teaching people how to do JavaScript. That's not my forte. I can teach you to do a lot of things. I'm not going to be able to teach you how to be a JavaScript coder. The JavaScript code people know who they are. Some of them can do FileMaker and JavaScript. It's really a fairly narrow group that can do that. I have 4 or 5 people at RCC who have done it so far. Like, for example, we have this free signature capture thing working on the Android device over here. Once again, I can't quite demo it yet because Art broke it, but we have it working. It's actually in our video course. There'll be a sample file we give away in the next probably couple weeks. So there is a lot of needs in the JavaScript. M. Johnson, I think it's Michael or Mike Johnson, I'm assuming. But if you go once again to this document over here is where we're tracking kind of these features. As soon as you run into a issue where you have a red X, then you have to break out probably JavaScript or something else, right? So the red X means that it's not natively supported. So down here is I put a reference into signature capture as a JavaScript thing. Basically, Claris doesn't, I understand. It makes a lot of sense to leverage JavaScript that's out there. It's available. Christian is working on the add-on module. We'll be back Tuesday with an add-on module to walk through that, and you will get it at that point. He wants to show it to me. He always calls me like at 9 o'clock at night saying, hey, you have time to talk? And I'm like, dude, I'm already worked 12, 14 hours today. I'm kind of done. But yeah, so starting point, we're not going to just add JavaScript, just add JavaScript. We will have standalone demos that are here. If you want to track those down, I'll make sure that we could probably do a search for like JavaScript in our search in here, right? So if you're in here, you want to do a search for JavaScript, I'll make sure I'll add that to the list, because Nick is bothering me to make sure that you folks are testing the iPad version of this, the X29, and I haven't given it to you yet. And you want to know why not? I said because I'm already busy. So yeah, we're working at full speed. Building awesome things, and then me just trying to get this all understood and documented, because it doesn't look like this anywhere. Nowhere does this chart exist. And I was, like I said, I was stressing out, and I finally started doing this. And then I had this realization that there's a difference between WebDirect over here. Those of you can't see this. WebDirect on Mac and Windows, and WebDirect on mobile, like mobile devices, right? Not talking laptops. Laptops up here. I'm talking about down here. There's really two WebDirect clients that you have to think about. And this one here supports a lot more crap than this one down here. And so every time you don't support something, then are you going to say no to the customer, or are you going to use a different platform? Like, you know, forget FileMaker, it doesn't get there for me, or are you going to do some sort of JavaScript add-on to get around it? And that's the conversations that we have here. That's why I'm here. TK55678. Yeah, so Bunny's asking about Python. A lot of people do Python. I don't know that there's any Python translator kind of thingies. I mean, probably there is. I would, you know, here's the thing. If you're interested in like the plugins to know about, right? So let's talk about the plugins that you want to the features and plugins that will make your life much easier. So one of which, obviously, Monkey Bread plugin. It's not free. You can download it for free, run it for free. I have it installed on here. It does a lot, but it's not free. The Base Elements plugin, not to be confused with the Base Elements diagnostic utility. People say Base Elements, and you never know which one they're talking about. So you have to kind of in your head figure out whether they're talking plugin or the paid app, which is worth its weight in gold, which is the one that analyzes your solution, right? So you got Base Elements plugin free, MBS plugin, the Monkey Bread one. You pay for that. That's a good one. I love the 360, folks. Like I say, you can't get to enterprise without 360 and lean design. You don't have to have starting point per se. So yeah, and all you saw me torture poor Jesse Barnum the other day. So, but he's over here. He's got a product called Script Master. This is basically kind of a mostly free product. There is a paid version that does some other stuff, but allows you to redistribute it and other things like that. But this thing, people build modules for this. It's like a plugin that has modules you can load into it. This thing does a ton. And see, it says shell scripting and stuff in here. I wonder, and I know that the guys at 360, at least not Jesse, but Sam loves regex. I don't. It's regular expressions, some sort of way of doing stuff. He loves that. There's probably a hook in there for that. There's obviously shell. There might even be Python in here would be my answer to Bunny, but you'd have to get this plugin and then see if you could put Python code in a text field, send it to plugin, have the plugin execute it, right? Would be my thought. Functions which are in Script Master. Let's just look at this for fun. Crop image. Now remember, this is basically free if you want to distribute or do other stuff. Like if you wanted to build a module and then distribute it with your solution, you could give them $90 and you could do that then. Crop an image, except that I showed that in JavaScript. You can do that with JavaScript. We have the demo for that. You don't need that. Get file as a container. That I was trying to solve this morning. There's a website. You can send it to them and do it, and then they take a picture of the website and then bring it back. But that's a file. Get file as a container. I don't get that. I don't understand what that is. Gradient image, okay, fine. Rotate image. That is part of the operating system. Nick put this into his gallery application. You can actually rotate and resize things in FileMaker. Kind of cool. Screen capture, that would be useful. Watermark, emails. I use their plugin button, so let me see. Send email, file system, append to file. Check whether file. Okay, this crap is all in FileMaker 18. This is how we do the preferences in FileMaker 18, where I save your preferences of your video player, so you don't have to put your license key back in. FileMaker added the ability to create your own preference. You can rename the file. You can rename files. You can create a text file, delete the text file, append to it. List all files recursively. I'm not sure it does that. It does most of this though. Rename is in there, yeah, because Miles did all this. Call a script at a scheduled time. Ooh, call a script immediately. This when the tip is displayed. Okay, so you can call a script under other conditions, right? Call a script with a delay. execute SQL statement in FileMaker. My guess this would be a full SQL, not the limited one that Claire's has, right? Get all clipboard formats, best clipboard. I don't know what a best. It seems very subjective. Best clipboard. Okay, I'd have to read up on that one. Where am I at with this? Here, some of this. Oh yeah, I'm down here towards the bottom. GUI, get colors, networking, get URL as a container. Yeah, that's the one I was trying to get to work. So here's what I was trying to do. I was trying to, on the sample file right here, I was trying to, after I did this, put it in a container field. And the insert from URL, if you just put that in there, it won't work. It doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work. It doesn't work. There's the guys at Australian teams called DF Fusion, Digital Fusion, FileMaker developers. They're the ones that done some of the sample files. David Woods over there. Guys are really talented. They have a blog on a service that you can do where you send the URL to the service, and then the service takes a picture of it, base 64s it back as text, and you bring it back and stick it in here so it's a scripted. I'm thinking about doing a video about that, but it'd be like end of July before we get to that. But there's all sorts of cool things you can do. Base 64 encode, that's part. So this product has been around for a long time, right? Obviously the Scriptmaster plugin, some of the features have been deprecated or not deprecated. You just don't need them because they're built into FileMaker. But there's quite a bit in here. XPath, web services, FedEx get rates, that's interesting. FedEx ship, all sorts of stuff. So anyway, kind of interesting. And then user contributed script manager module, barcode generator, QR code generator. Yeah, so if someone built modules probably with the same library over here, then they built the module in here, so you could call the QR code generator in here. So there you go. That's kind of neat. So yeah, so it's all kind of I mean, we're all going to this new JavaScript stuff, dragging it on, and once again, the idea is to compensate for the for the red holes in the diagram, all the red little checkboxes. And these are just the checkboxes that have to do with containers, which is kind of a interesting area. Every time you see a red checkbox, that's a place where you need something to help. So webhooks is a very loose term for a very broad thing, right? So a webhook is a hook where it's like a basically the word webhooks has been around for a long time. My general understanding is that basically it's the same kind of like a REST API. It's like an endpoint, right, where you can talk to a service as a you can talk to an online service, right, about some sort of service, like I don't know, like this one service. You send them the URL, they take a picture and send it back to you. It's a RESTful API, REST API, and so that's kind of a hook, right? It's a hook. The question is whether you're a source, or you're a source of the data, or you're a source of the data, or you're a consumer of the data, right? Most of the time, everything we build is consumption level because FileMaker really is at the customer-facing level, and we're consuming data and giving it to the customer. But for example, if you come over here to the website, I come over here and I press the button for the live training. This data right here is coming out of a data API, which is basically it's kind of an endpoint for you to go and rip this stuff out of here. I don't really turn it loose on the public, but that's effectively what where this stuff is going. So, yeah. So David, any tips, tricks, ideas? If you folks see sample files that we should know about, definitely post them in the Discord, right? If we have, you know, I've done Andre Day where we had Andre built a bunch of sample files. He really kicked butt for us. And we had Andre Day where we just went through all his sample files, right? Really a good broadcast, very useful, bunch of stuff. And so if we have more JavaScript related items, I have no problem having a conversation. Like, remember the crop one over here? This is a great one. So here's that picture one of you did, but you could put another picture in here of God knows what. Where's that one picture we had over here a little bit ago? So I put the picture of, where'd he go? Here he is. So I'm going to put that picture in there. There he is, right? So we're like, oh, I really only like the lips. So you come over here, you say, I want to crop it. This is so cool. Crop it. This is JavaScript, right? And you could, now, right, it's set to be rectangular or 1-to-1 ratio right now, but that's a preference setting in the JavaScript. And you say, okay, save, and it crops out that, leaves the original, crops out, and loads that into a container here. That's JavaScript. FileMaker can't do anything like this. This is so cool. We're leveraging already built code. So this was already built code that was built online, that was open source, that was free. Someone took it, had to adapt it so it could talk just to FileMaker to move the data in and out. It's generally very little work. I'm not very good at doing it, but it's very little work, and I have folks here that do that, right? And so that's what this is all about. Very cool stuff. So if you have sample files, let us know. That would be great. So, and then post them, and then we will check them out. Once again, you can go to Discord, post them in Discord, post them to the live stream here. We have separate product questions over here. People are asking about starting point. That's over here. Video questions here. Sample files will be cross-posted there. In fact, we'll cross-post that one over here as well from today. As we run into stuff. But yeah, enjoy everyone. Appreciate it. I'm going to catch you next week. Roll credits. Or not. It doesn't work. Here it goes. Please start.
Guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected. The quarterback, great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Trying to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap, stands in, throws it left for Amendola, reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10, rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.